Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about one major reason that your ex is silent.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions, so if you're interested, you can head to the website and book from there.
Yeah, we'll be happy to help you out because breakups are extremely confusing and we can make things very, very messy.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, when you're in no contact, or as we teach it, no reaching out, it can be so challenging just to get through every single day. It's like our only focus is on our ex, where they're at, what they're doing, if they're dating other people, if they're missing us, if they're considering reaching out, and it just consumes our life. It's kind of crazy how your life can get so turned upside down so quickly just because your romantic partner doesn't want to be with you anymore.
Oh, yeah. And it's so interesting to me now in the age of mobile phones is that we're so glued to our phone waiting for that notification, or we have that small little hope that we'll hear a ding and it will be them. I wonder if back in the day they would wait by their mailboxes for a letter from their loved one or whatever.
Yeah, they're like talking to the mailman. So if you see anything, if you hear of any letters to get into the post office, let me know. I'll drive down there to pick it up.
But it's true. When we see
Postman's like, he sees it and throws it out.
No. You just ruined a whole family that way. But it's so interesting how our focus can be so narrow. And we ask ourselves, why are they so quiet? We come up with our own reasons in our mind. They must be mad at me. They must be still mulling this over.
They don't care anymore.
They don't care.
It's a big one.
So we figured we would talk about this just to bring up some more clarity to you and to give you our perspective.
Yeah. It's totally normal for you to wonder constantly, why haven't they reached out? And sometimes you'll see those negative comments like, well, if they wanted to, they would.
They don't care.
They don't care about you, and they're never loved you.
Oh my gosh.
But, I mean, you see a lot of negative comments.
It's
and
true.
By the way, those people are probably avoidant themselves. So
Or very angry.
Yeah, very angry, very hurt. So you got to be careful when you're seeing stuff like that because it can get you down a rabbit hole. And then all of a sudden you're getting very hurt and upset, and you can spiral very, very quickly, right? But your ex is going through a lot of different feelings and emotions in most cases. Now, there are some people that are just taking advantage of you and maybe using you and didn't really care. But for the most part, you guys were with somebody who did genuinely have strong feelings for you and love you and is struggling with the breakup in different ways. But a big part of why they're not reaching out yet is because they're not ready.
And this is huge, and it's hard for us to boil it down to just one reason. We have several other videos where we go into further depth about your ex's silence and why they haven't reached out, so I encourage you to watch those too. In this video, we're trying to boil it down to the fundamentals here, and it's really because they're not ready.
Yeah, you know, things take time in life. All things, you know, think about a baby, right? When the baby is developing in the mom, it takes time. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Things can take time. If you're cooking or baking, you can't rush the process of baking those brownies or baking the cake. It takes time. And feelings and emotions and the energy that comes from a breakup and the arguing and the exhaustion and the beliefs that they had about it, those take times to change and shift as well.
Exactly. And right after the breakup, this is something we talk about a lot, they experience separation elation. So this is that sense of relief right after a breakup that your ex gets because they've made a decision and followed through with it. So that is initially why they are more silent, but with time, they are silent because of several other reasons. They don't want to lead you on. They don't want to give off the idea that they are ready to sign up for another relationship when they might not be there yet. And feelings of ambivalence can last for a while when you're on the fence. Think about how long it would take you to make a giant purchase like a home or maybe a vehicle or which college to go to. You don't make decisions like that very quickly. Typically, you're in your mind thinking about the pros and cons. Typically, you're mulling over the whole situation, what it would be like. You kind of try to envision yourself in those different places or purchasing those things.
Yeah.
So same with your ex, for them to reconsider this relationship, it's a big deal. It's something where their emotions are on the line. And some people could even argue it's a lot more valuable than a house or these material things.
Sure.
So yes, it's going to take them some time to get to the place where they're bold enough to reach out to you and consider a relationship with you again.
And one of the things that you really want to think about and consider is that you're probably not ready yet either. Many of you still are struggling with emotional self-control, massive amounts of anxiety, these desperate feelings to reconnect that are only going to overwhelm them anyway. So many of you should be counting your blessings that they haven't reached out yet, because you're just going to scare them away. And it's very easy to scare them away in these situations. So you really do want to obsess about personal growth and not where they're at and what they're doing, because if you are focused on them, it's not really helping you prepare for when they are ready to reach out.
And speaking about you're not ready yet, you also have to think about your reaction to their reach out. They might not be ready to reach out to you because they might be anticipating you respond in an angry way, or you might even reject them, believe it or not. They could be nervous about that. So that could be something that's keeping them silent for a while too, worth considering.
Yeah, the buildup has to happen in them where the consequence doesn't matter anymore. In other words, that they miss you so much that they have to take the risk of reaching out. But sometimes, usually it does take them time for that to happen.
Exactly. And you want them to be bold enough to reach out to you, despite being nervous about being rejected, for them to want to repair it. For them to want to repair it means they have to be humble enough to.
Yeah.
So very important.
Yeah.
Now, they might still be figuring out who they are. And this is also a big reason as to why they are not ready to reach out and why they are silent. Maybe they ended the relationship because they have a ton of other life issues going on that they feel like they need to tend to.
Yeah.
Maybe they ended the relationship because they're going through an existential crisis, which happens a lot more often than you would think. And so in these scenarios, they need to figure out who they are. They need to feel independent again. They need to feel like they can handle things on their own before being in a partnership.
Yeah.
So this is something that can also happen. You want somebody who can have a strong sense of self, who can make decisions on their own. Sometimes it takes your ex being silent for them to get there.
Relationships take work and they take energy. And if they're not in the place to handle the work that they know it's going to take, or the energy that they have to give, especially if they're depressed, they're not going to be ready yet. It doesn't mean that they will never be ready. Just like how many things in life, it takes time for it to get ready. It just means that they're not ready yet. Now, not everybody will hear from their ex. So we don't want to lead you to believe that everybody's going to hear from their ex. Most people do hear from their ex at some point, especially if you did not overwhelm or show up at their house, do anything that really scared them, because those things could really, make somebody not want to come back if they're afraid of you. But even in those cases, it can happen. It's just that you have to trust that there's a process, and you need to work on the right things in that process yourself to get ready. Because if they do get ready and they do reach out and you haven't done enough work, they're going to know it. You're going to get right in front of them again and they're going to see it. They're going to know it. They're going to truly know if you've changed or if you haven't. They can sense it, right? People can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Telling them that you've changed is not going to work, because many times someone will test you. They'll do something just to see how you react. Are you going to react the way that you used to? And if you do, they're going to say, you see, this is the same problem we had before. You haven't changed. You tell me you changed, but now here we are arguing about the same thing.
Right.
So, I mean, you hear it all the time, right?
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, the questions that we're asking in this video, I think, are very important.
Yeah.
About, are you ready yet? That's really the main question here. But also, Why are they silent? Why aren't they ready? And do you want somebody who's not ready yet themselves?
Yep.
You know? So
one of the things that we have is the creative healing course and the workbooks. That is all focused on personal growth. There are probably thousands of reflective questions. I mean, the 1 through 10 of the workbooks has 594 pages. And I don't know, there's probably close to 10 questions a page on average, somewhere around that. Sometimes a little bit less. But, I mean, how many is that? And, and then the creative healing course, you know, it's just as big in different ways. It has art therapy activities and all kinds of things to help you process and heal. And the cartoons, which are great to really show you a lot of the issues you've probably been having. You got to focus on those things, because if you don't, and those come back up again, you're going to see that you're getting caught right up in that old cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So really important questions to think about. And most importantly, that self-reflective question of, are you ready?
Yep.
Are you in a place where you could interact with your ex in a healthy way? Would you be able to respond to your ex in a cordial way if they were to reach out to you? Would it bring up a bunch of anger? You have to ask yourself these things to really be prepared for those scenarios.
And one thing you want to consider is think about all the people that are watching this video. Do you think you've worked harder than most of those people? Some of those people? Something to consider. I like to
Craig's stirring up the competition.
I like to over prepare. So I don't want to ruin a chance with somebody if I know that, or I think I'm going to have one. You know what I mean? So I like to over prepare. And so I always get people to think about that in terms of all the other people that are preparing to get their ex back. How are you doing compared to them?
Yeah.
Because when you look at it like that, it might make you think, you know what? I probably should be working harder. And that's going to pay off for you regardless of what happens with your ex.
Exactly.
You know? All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'll be here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.